Are political parties becoming less important? That's a question we're going to explore in this video. There is some evidence to suggest that generally around the world, party membership is in decline in terms of the percentage of people that join and are members of political parties. We also see a decline in the number of people that identify with a particular party. And there's evidence for this across several jurisdictions, including the United States, France, Great Britain, and Germany. Parties seem to be playing a less important part of the political system. Now, in the United States, we can also see recent examples of outsiders taking control of political parties. For example, in the 2016 election in the United States, Bernie Sanders made a run at the leadership of the Democratic Party, despite not being a member of the party at the beginning of the contest. Donald Trump ended up winning the leadership of the Republican Party despite being a Democrat most of his life. And what is happening that allows these outsiders to take control over political parties? Again, are they losing influence? Well, there's some different explanations. One of them is a decline in union membership. Across many jurisdictions, there is a general downward trend in union membership, especially union membership associated with traditional manufacturing industries. Many of those industries have moved production to lower wage jurisdictions, which has resulted in lower unionization rates. In many mass political parties, especially labor parties, there is a direct connection between the unions and the parties. And so perhaps with a decline in union membership, we're also seeing a decline in active political party participation. Now, there's also legal changes that have given rise to this environment, especially in the United States. In 2010, there was a Supreme Court decision called Citizens United, and what that did was it removed spending limits on election campaigns. So there was really no financial constraints on the amount of money that could be spent in support of a candidate or a cause. And this also spawned what are called super PACs, political action committees, PACs that do not have the same disclosure requirements. And so with that, in the US anyway, political parties are losing their monopoly on some of the traditional functions that political parties have filled. We think of interest articulation and aggregation, fundraising, nominating candidates, recruiting members, and of course, being a government in waiting. Now with super PACs that were created as a result of that court decision, they can play a role in agenda setting. They play a very large role in fundraising and financing of campaigns, and they also have influence in the nomination process. So the things political parties used to do exclusively, now they're being done by other actors as well. So that could be lending support for the idea that political parties are becoming less important, at least in America. Now, it's also possible that political parties around the world are just making strategic decisions. And for this, we can think of Ronald Coase. He's an economist, and his theory of the firm suggested that firms try and do things in a manner that reduce transaction costs. For example, let's say if you run a manufacturing company, you also have other needs. You might need to clean the plant, you might need a human resources department, you might need an accounting department. And there are some times when it would make sense to, rather than outsource those and work with an external company, to just have them as part of your own company. Hire your own HR department and your own accounting department. That way you can reduce the transaction costs associated with doing business with outside firms. So in that sense, firms are making a rational decision to try and reduce costs by lumping everything under one umbrella to make it more efficient. What if parties are doing the same thing? They're acting like firms, although instead of agglomerating functions, they are outsourcing them. Maybe they're outsourcing functions to other firms that can do the job better. So fundraising and advertising, super PACs are good at that, and so maybe political parties are happy to take a back seat there. Same with agenda settings. Different allied groups, such as PACs and super PACs, can devote themselves to focusing on a specific issue and drive public attention that way. As far as candidates go, candidates might not need political parties to the same extent as they used to because of the influence of super PACs, but also because of tools like social media and other technologies that allows them to circumvent the party and appeal directly to voters with their message, for one, but also for fundraising. In that sense, the political party isn't really necessary for the candidate. So maybe, in that sense, candidates and political parties are just choosing not to do certain things that can be done better using different technologies or different legal entities. So just to recap, are parties becoming less important? There is some evidence to suggest that membership and identification are on the decline in some jurisdictions. And that could be merely because other entities are emerging and other technologies that are able to do some of those traditional political party functions and do them a little bit more efficiently.